My name is Nathan Kelly. I just finished up my internship with Mills Concrete this past winter semester. I worked as a superintendent intern or assistant to the superintendent with Mills. I worked with Ben Cloud, who's an alumni from BYU, Idaho, and I was able to learn a lot working with him over the last couple months. And it was a new experience for me. I don't have a ton of construction experience coming into the program, and so I wanted to be able to do something that would help me to see the management side of things while also getting my hands a little bit more dirty. So as I was searching for this second internship, I was really looking forward to looking for something that would get me out in the field more than a project engineer per se, sitting in the office and working more with construction documents on the computer. And while I did a lot of that during this internship, I also got to be out in the field every day on site, more or less doing the work. And one of the biggest things that I really got to work on during this internship was that of learning, just kind of improving, I guess, my skills with plan reading and then creating and executing a site layout. Because our main bread and butter was footings and foundation walls. We are the first people on site after the excavators have come through. So we'd get out there, and first of all, we'd have to check that the excavators had done their job right and making sure the elevations are right. And if not, we needed to get that backfilled and in the place where it needed to be. But then understanding, how the survey crews had done their work, so we could go and find those benchmarks and then work out from there. And just take the plans and look at the dimensions and be able to say, okay, well, here's my benchmark. It's this far from there, and draw out the rest of the site and make sure it was square and doing all the things. And I definitely made quite a few mistakes in my plan reading or not understanding something, and then I wasn't translating it out well onto the site. But as I got to go through and practice that a lot more, I really learned a lot. I had the opportunity to perform the site layout for the entire foundation of a house that they're building as a company. I say we because I'm still there. I finish next week. And so that was a really good experience. One of the issues we had actually while working on that was that the excavation was not completed as we were trying to start our work. So we were kind of waiting for them. And so we went out one day and we painted out our entire site layout so that the excavators could see, hey, we need this, we need this much more space dug out. And so that was really helpful for them. And then we were able to come in and redo the layout one more time in conjunction with the survey points and just get it perfectly where it needed to be and start forming out those forms. That whole situation actually taught me a lot about the importance of the pre-construction process, because as we finished that, then we got the notice from the contractor that, hey, we're going to pause you. We just realized we haven't done our geotechnical report comparison, like having the engineers come out and test the soils to make sure we're good post excavation. And so we actually ended up having to remove all of the foundation forms that we had placed we'd been there for like a week placing forms, and they made us take them all down, which was unfortunate, more for them because it's going to be a big change order. But it was, we were still able to work, and I was able to have at least the experience in that. But that just kind of showed me a lot the importance of making sure, you have that checklist of things to go through and getting that all done as a contractor, as a subcontractor, before you start the physical on-site work, so that you can get out there and go 110%, which we had done all of our parts. Fortunately, it was the fault of the contractor in that, but I learned a lot about having that open communication, having all that pre-con work done, doing all of your parts so that it's not your mistake, and making sure your bases are covered. So I think that was a super important thing that I learned. And really just kind of the overall run as a superintendent, that you're that on-site manager, the supervisor. So a lot of the day-to-day things that I got to do was scheduling out materials that we needed for the things that we were doing, controlling man hours, and then just a lot of estimating quantity takeoffs for materials, calculating concrete so we could get that for the pours. And so I got to do a lot of that. And something I learned about material scheduling is that you want to use as little as possible, and you want to get it on site not necessarily all at once, but as you need it. Because if you have too much on site, it can kind of create a mindset in your laborers that we have all this, and then you actually generate more waste having more materials on site than if you just have kind of like the bare minimum as you need it. So it's really important to understand, this is what I'm going to need to build this, and then being able to schedule out those materials so that they arrive as you're needing them. And that was something I never considered before. So I thought that was cool to learn. It's also important to divide and conquer when you're working, because your laborers are getting paid per hour, and you've only estimated so much labor hours to your bid for everything that you're doing. And so it's important to make sure that everything is being done effectively and everyone's working efficiently, that you don't have one guy swinging the hammer, another guy's holding the stake, and another guy's there watching, make sure it goes in right. But that every task is being done as effectively as possible. Everyone's as spread out as possible, while also staying as together as possible to keep things being done well and to a very quality and safe level, while also getting things done efficiently. And so that was something we had to work on a lot, because we weren't able to go to work on this house from the beginning of my internship, which was the original plan, because of the issues we were having with the contractor. We got sent around to a lot of little projects. And so we kind of had to find that balance of, making sure we were getting our laborers hours that they needed so they can make, the money that they were there to make, while also not being there so long that we're creating extra costs for ourselves as a company. And so that was something that was really important that I started to learn. I also learned, and I made this mistake a lot, just really improving on my quantity takeoffs. Because when it comes to concrete, it's not just calculating how many cubic yards of concrete you're going to use, but you have to calculate, how many forms or what materials you're going to need for your forms. Fortunately, working at Mills Concrete, they use reusable forms, so kind of like exactly the dimensions of it, so you can just kind of divide it out. But just understanding all the different pieces that go into something was something that was kind of a learning curve that I had to go through, so that I could look at plans. Okay, I can find the linear feet of something, and then go and figure out all my formwork, because it's the formwork that holds in the concrete once you pour it. It doesn't just pour itself into a perfect shape. So it was really cool for me to just really get that hands-on experience, to see how things are actually done, to work with other contractors, to see how other trades are doing things, and just to get the experience with concrete, which I thought was really cool. Had a lot of cool experiences, and just kind of seeing things in a gospel perspective, learning about the importance of a foundation, and comparing that to the gospel of Jesus Christ, and having Christ as our foundation. So overall, it was a phenomenal internship. I'm really glad I got to work with Mills, and I learned a lot, and from the people as well as the work. So